I tell you all the time, farming happens everywhere. I'm about to prove it like I never have before in a very ritzy suburban neighborhood in metro Atlanta. You know Liz Prann as a correspondent and anchor with the NewsNation network. Her husband, Darren O'Day, pitched in the major leagues for 15 years. Now he's part of the Atlanta Braves broadcast team. That's what they do for a living, but their real passion is farming here in their own backyard with their kids. Come on, let me take you where the food comes from. So guys, I gotta tell you, we've made a lot of shows in a lot of places. We're into 60-something episodes now. We're usually on big outdoor farms or in big conventional greenhouses, small urban farms, rooftop farms, everything else. But I gotta say, we've never been anywhere as glorious as this beautiful suburban Atlanta neighborhood. This is your backyard, but it's also your farm. It's your family farm.
Yeah, this has become part of our family. You know, we're very cognizant about what we eat and what we're feeding the kids. And when we moved from a large property to this property, we just wanted to be able to grow something and see what we could do. And you know, it's expanded rapidly, but we love it. We get to get out here every day with the plants and with the chickens and kind of gather around that as many generations before us have. My absolute favorite thing, the most gratifying thing about doing a backyard garden, and a reason enough to start one, even if you're afraid of failure in your own backyard, is watching my kids roll by the garden and just grabbing a handful of spinach. Or having 15 kids over here at a pool party, and one of them says, "What's this?" And so try it. This is lettuce, this is spinach, arugula, whatever.
It is
try
not.
It. Yeah.
And
yeah,
so what you buy in the grocery store.
They grab a leaf off, they eat it, and I get to tell their parents, hey, when they're over here, they tried spinach and they liked it. So now you can try to put that on their plate. And that's been amazing. You know, the kids are eating snap peas, they're eating all these different types of foods that 2 or 3 years ago they would have just not even looked at.
So Darren, you're an old Florida boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you grew up in the Sunshine State playing baseball and all that. So I would assume somewhere country kid, farm background, mom and dad in farming, grandparents in farming?
No, nothing really.
Oh.
You know, Dad took nice care of the yard. I think he won Lawn of the Month 1 or 2 times. But no, this is all a recent development, and this is a personality trait of mine. I pick up a new hobby, and then I do it to where I can call myself proficient at it, and then I might move on to the next one. I like to learn new things, but this is one that I'm confident is going to last, just because of some of the benefits that we've seen of having it.
I'm from Colorado, but again,
farm girl from Colorado.
Yeah, I wish that I would bring more to the table if I were a farm girl. I think what I bring a lot to the table is certainly curiosity, and then I also really do a good job of bringing the failures.
Yeah.
I did a number of really tiny gardens throughout Darren's career, and I think some of my carrots would, I don't know, maybe a half an inch, and maybe I could grow some cherry tomatoes, and that would be my season, or I could grow mint or some other herbs.
So you actually kind of started all of this.
And he perfected it, which is really the theme.
Major League Baseball players, one thing we know, during the season, you're gone a lot. There's a lot of time on the road. You had a lot of time on your hands, and you just started pecking away, planting a little something here or there?
But I would do like the herb tower, and I would do small little plastic planters. So I wouldn't have really anything crazy, but it was just something that I had every season that I owned. I think one of the reasons I compliment Darren so well is he can usually just fix all my mistakes. So you could look at maybe a previous garden picture, and then you look behind us, and that's sort of the end result, is that Darren really will take the time to do the research and say, did you fertilize your garden? No, I didn't. Did you mulch it? No. So we really work as a great team, or if he's gone, I'll make sure that his seedlings are doing well, because he's still traveling, and we just make it a team effort.
The first time I saw her get interested in the garden, I was still playing, I was still in the height of my career, and I thought, okay, there's something, maybe I can do that when I retire. But right now, I don't have the time. It's an 8-month-a-year commitment.
Sure.
And the only season you're home is in the winter.
Right.
You can grow some stuff in the winter, but it's a little more challenging. So my mentality when I played baseball was, the more hobbies you can have off the field, the easier it makes your job on the field, the more things you have going besides baseball. So gardening was not one of my hobbies when I played, but it was one that I was eyeing certainly when I had the time. So the first season I retired after the 22 season. So last year in 23, I started doing this. I planted one arugula plant in a little seed starting thing inside, and just, you know, from that moment I was hooked. And so now that's turned into gardening 3 or 4 seasons a year for the past, year and a half now.
So Darren, I know a lot of athletes who come to the end of their playing career and they're frankly kind of lost. That's been their whole life, it's been their whole focus. Might be the only thing they're good at. As you were coming to the end of your playing days, did you have any of that time period of, I can't believe it's over? It felt like it just started, even though it lasted 15 years in the major leagues, which in this era is an extraordinarily long pro baseball life. Did you have time for any of that angst?
I wanted to find some things to do in my retirement. I knew I wouldn't be bored. So I picked up this, vegetable gardening, and spending more time with my kids, obviously, and my wife. And then, I ride mountain bikes, I ride road bikes. So I always knew there was more to life than just baseball, and I was excited for the time to be able to do some of those things that I'd always wanted to do.
And to have the advantages that a life in pro sports
Yes.
afforded you.
Yeah, I got to retire when I was 40.
Yeah.
And I played long enough where I don't have to have a job now, and I didn't want to waste that opportunity.
Made a couple of bucks in the big leagues.
I didn't want to waste that opportunity. I felt like if I saw somebody else that retired at 40 and then just sat around, I would be disappointed in them.
Yeah.
So, and plus I have a wife that wouldn't let me just sit around. So I knew she would get out the whip and
Well, I just do a
get
bad
me off
garden
the
and then he'll
couch.
fix it.
Yeah, that's right.
So you literally planted the seed for all of this.
I'll gladly take credit for that.
And that started during your traveling days, and then baseball, you're done with that commitment. Pandemic era changes the way that you work and the way that you do your job and your career arc and where you have to go and the demands on you. Is that when you looked around and all of this went from trying to grow your little 2-inch carrots and in the garden, you guys said, let's do something?
Yeah, I just don't think there's a shortage of gratitude for sure. And I think that's another reason why we're doing the garden or we're doing the chickens. And I say this to Darren too, is that, let's just get the most out of it, right? If we're gonna live this one life, what else can we do? Like, what do you mean we can't have ducks and chickens and dogs, and maybe I'll try to get goats. Well, I'll see whichever one I can get.
Yeah.
I mean,
the big network TV person and the big MLB baseball player, kind of a glamorous life,
I mean, with the chicken poop under my fingernails?
That's where I'm coming from, Liz, is this, the fact that people looking at you from afar would go, wow, they're like Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade, or for another era, Joe DiMaggio and Marilyn Monroe.
Oh.
I'll take the Marilyn Monroe for
you've
sure.
But you've got this these are the kind of lives that people aspire to. What you guys do in your lives professionally, or what kids grow up wanting to do. Do you ever look around and does it seem glamorous to you? We're sitting out here sweating in the Georgia sunshine right now.
Yeah. So, as we talked about before, I never anticipated playing in the major leagues.
Yeah.
I always thought there was a chance, but I never anticipated that becoming my life. And the longer I did it, the more I could see how happy it makes kids if you spend a little time with them, or you talk to them, or you sign an autograph or whatever. And that never got old to me. I was always grateful for that. But at the end of the day, it's really just a job that other people care about, that other people want to watch you do. And really, I hope that I haven't changed as a person. I'm sure in some ways I have. But the way I was raised by my parents is I think I still hold those values closely. And I just had a cool job is really what it's all about. So that doesn't identify me. It's a pretty cool thing to say you did for a living. But I just want to get the most out of life. We only get one of these things, so that's what I think what we're shooting for.
And I also think, like you said, I'm blessed enough to work downstairs because they haven't expanded into Atlanta yet, NewsNation. And we did have a hawk attack, and a perfect example is Darren calls me and I run home and I'm working that day.
So you're in the basement studio.
Full hair and makeup, and then I'm holding a chicken and he's pouring iodine on her, and I tell him not to get it on my computer, and I've got chicken poop on my hands because I want them to have a clean coop.
It's that glamorous life I was talking about, Liz.
I try to clean it out after my first hit, so I just make sure there's no chicken poop in my hair for the second.
No matter how big your space is, you can get started, you can grow something to feed your family and know where that food's coming from and know what's been applied to it.
This small portion we started probably 2 months ago. So we have edamame, we have lavender, we have Thai basil, 2 zucchini on each side and peas, 2 zucchini and 2 peas on each side.
A lot of emphasis this year has been on growing vertically. And what we're trying to do here is we're going to grow, we got a climbing type zucchini that's going to climb over this trellis. And then the other main feature of this part of the garden is edamame. Our kids, one of the first vegetables they ever started eating was edamame, so soybeans. So we're decided we're going to try to grow a bunch of those, and just another thing that we can, grow and cook and eat with the kids. That's the watermelons there. We obviously planted some sunflowers. These are mammoth sunflowers. They get up to 10 feet tall. They could put out a flower a foot wide. They're beautiful. We're going to let them go to seed. Let the birds eat them. We'll feed a lot to the chickens so they can eat them. We got some okra in the ground here. You can see one of the challenges of home gardening with dogs and kids. The dogs trampled this okra. But
just yesterday.
Just yesterday. This is where the garden all started, is right over here. This vertical growing system is a great option for patios. I got this for Liz a few years back, and I tend to use it for leftovers. We start a lot of our crops from seed inside. This past fall was our first venture into the allium family. So we planted a bunch of red Cabernet onions. We got some hardneck garlic up here that is getting close to coming out. Let's see if we have any that are ready. I think we do. So we'll just pull this one here to see how we look.
Ooh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, that's a good looking one. This store is great. Sweet onions don't store great. We'll get to those. We have a lot of those, but the garlic, you do one planting of garlic, you have enough garlic for your whole year. Everything you grow yourself will end up tasting better. Whether it does or it doesn't, you think it tastes better. So this is one thing we're really excited about.
We said that we were going to eat kale, and then we just feed it to the chickens. It's really, really easy to grow, and for some reason it's their favorite plant to eat.
So this is a cabbage that I've kept on. It's getting beat up a little bit. I kept it on just to harvest it for you guys. You guys are in the presence of the hottest cabbage in the cabbage game. This is called a Caraflex cabbage. It's a true thing. I looked it up. You can still use these outer leaves, but the real star of the show is this tight, compact head. It's a little bit less bitter than other cabbages, very sweet. They can't grow enough of them for all the 5-star restaurants in New York and Chicago and LA. So it's something we tried this year, and it's pretty cool. The kids love it. We make a little saute with it.
Yeah. So my parents used to live on Sanibel Island. It's a little island off the coast of Fort Myers. And apparently, which I didn't know, 100 years ago, it was an island purely filled with tomato farms. That's all there was tomato farms on the island. Now it's obviously a very popular vacation destination. So they were hit with a hurricane about 1.5 years ago. And when they went back to the island, there was just these tomato plants popping up all over the island. And it turns out that the storm stirred up all of the seeds and everything that was dormant. And now there was tomato plants popping up in everyone's yard. So my dad brought us a couple tomatoes, and then Darren planted them, and a few months later we're starting to get really one of our best looking. It doesn't actually look that healthy, but it's really producing. We have a ton of Sanibel tomatoes.
So this is a yellow Granex onion. Also, here in Georgia, call it the Vidalia onion, but you can't call it Vidalia unless you grow it grow it down there in that county. So we'll call it a yellow Granex. But these are the super sweet ones, great for sauteing down. They add so much flavor to whatever you're eating. We put them in omelets. My daughter eats mushroom, onion, cheese, omelets, and something I never thought she would have eaten 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, she would have looked at a mushroom. All right, here we go. Here's an appropriately sized beet.
Ooh, it's pretty. It's like a golden one.
That's a golden beet, yeah. So it won't stain your skin like a purple beet. It's a good looking beet. You can eat the greens as well. Or you can just feed them to your chickens.
Bougie chickens.
Bougie chickens. So this year we focused on growing more flowers as well to attract pollinators to more efficiently pollinate, what you want to eat. And also they're pretty. Strawberries, great crop, especially for kids, because they can just come out here and pop a couple berries off and eat them. We have put up a little makeshift fence here because the potato, being a member of the nightshade family, can be mildly poisonous to dogs and chickens. And you see this chicken,
honey.
the James Bond of chickens, has found her way in there. Hopefully she's not snacking on those potato leaves. As head of security, that falls under my umbrella of the chickens. There we go.
I got her.
Successful rescue. And the dogs like to chew on plants as well, so we just figured we better contain these.
Now, there are professional farmers looking at this, and they're probably laughing at us,
Hi.
for sitting here talking about farming in a location like this. But I think what they will appreciate, and what you've just said, and what the honest truth about our food that sustains us every day, every moment of our lives, there's nothing easy about it. Even on this scale, even on this backyard scale, there's nothing simple about this. It's hard work. There's no way to sugarcoat it.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. It is a good amount. I just saw a shadow go by. That was a hawk. So we're very, we asked to talk about one of our biggest experiences here. We had a hawk attack. You can hear the hawk in the background. Hawk swooped down when the leaves fell off the trees.
Yeah.
Got on one of our chickens' backs, was shredding it. We said, what do we do? This is one of our biggest challenges. What do we do? We have a chicken that's got 3 silver dollar sized holes in it.
Oh my.
What are we gonna do? I'm not thinking, I'm not gonna take this chicken to the veterinarian. Somebody won't let me cook it. So
We're not cooking Hennifer.
we're not cooking our chickens. I had some old suture material, and we just did a backyard stitch up. We sanitized it, left a little open so it didn't go anaerobic, and she's happy, healthy after a month recovering in our laundry room.
So you're doing.
We sent her back out.
You're the chicken OR medic there.
Yeah.
Wow. So all right, I think you just won back some of our crusty. Oh, there's some crusty old guy in Nebraska who's been sitting there this whole time going, they're just talking about this. Wait a minute, he stitched up his own chicken after a hawk attack? All right, boy, that's farming. You'll get,
There we go.
We'll get there.
You'll
got some
get points
points.
for that.
And the crazy part about it is how thin their skin is. When you're eating a chicken drumstick or something, you don't
Yeah.
think about it. She took it like a champ. These hens are tougher than any of us, because when I was stitching her up, she couldn't have been less bothered.
Wow.
She didn't care.
Literally unruffled.
Unruffled, nice. Like I said, we did a little intensive care in the house. She was in the laundry room for
Yeah.
about a month. If you send a chicken back out to the flock with any irregularities in their body, the other chickens will peck at it. So she had to be isolated from the other girls. And so she, for a month, lived in our laundry room. We nursed her back to health. We sent her back out. And then it's funny, she actually lost her spot in the pecking order. That's where the term pecking order comes from, because
It's
there
a
is an
real
order
thing.
in which they eat. And she used to be the A1.
Yeah.
And now when she comes back, Abraham Lincoln has moved into the A1. So now they got to sort that out again. But you learn a lot from them. And you really do. And like you said, the farmers that do this every day, all day, every day, that's old news to them. But for me, a retired baseball player, I didn't know all this stuff. We're learning on the fly. So we're learning new things as we go. I'm really enjoying it.
What a beautiful component, addition, harmonious blend to your life. And what an incredible gift to your children.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I got to tell you the truth, when I got here today, I knew it was going to be cool. I knew that your family was, committed to this and committed to this idea. What I didn't really realize and did not expect was you're really not just talking the talk, you're walking the walk. You know what you're talking about. You know why these things work. You know what these crops need. You might have a handful of onion plants instead of 1,000,000 acres. You might have a little bit of okra instead of 100 acres of okra. But this is a serious commitment. You're as involved in this.
Yeah, this is the scale we can grow at. And this, I encourage anybody, even if you're growing 1 or 2 plants, to get into it, because you're gonna get food from that tastes better than anything you can buy. And you're gonna learn something, and you're gonna be so satisfied at the end saying, I did that.
Yep, I think with every season you learn just a little bit more. It gets better and better.
And bringing the kids into it, that's the real magic, isn't it?
Absolutely, I think that they're taking ownership, they're loving it, and they want to grow.
We've watched generation by generation as we've gotten further from the farm. It's fascinating now to see generations start reconnecting. I tell you all the time, farming happens everywhere, from the country to the city to beautiful suburban neighborhoods like these out here.
Where the food comes from.